Welcome to Shadow Story World *, the cursed village of Magining, based on a true story. Thunder cracked across the sky as if it was tearing the night apart. At that exact moment, Zia and Dika stepped out of their car. The name of the village was Magining. The moment Zia's feet touched the ground, a cold feeling ran through her chest. It felt like something was watching her from the darkness. Dika gave a small laugh and said, "This place feels way too quiet." Zia didn't respond. Her eyes were fixed on an old house in the distance. That was her grandfather's house. As they stood at the door, it slowly creaked open. Danang stepped out, Zia's grandfather. There was fear in his eyes, mixed with anger. "I told you not to come here," he said in a low voice. Zia replied softly, "I just wanted to stay for a few days." Danang interrupted her immediately. "You will leave after tonight, not a moment longer." Dika looked confused, but Zia understood something was very wrong with this place. As evening fell, the entire village changed. People rushed inside their homes, locking doors and windows. No one spoke, only fear remained. Then a voice echoed through the village speakers. "No one is allowed to leave their house tonight. If you see anything, do not look into their eyes." Dika felt a chill run down her spine. Night grew deeper. Then suddenly, a soft sound came from the roof. Tap. Tap. Dik walked to the window and looked outside. Her eyes widened in horror through the thick fog. A long procession was moving forward. They were carrying coffins. They walked slowly, silently, but their feet were not touching the ground. Dika whispered Zia, "They are not human." At that moment, one of them stopped, slowly. It turned its head toward the window. Its eyes were gone, only empty holes, dripping with dark blood. "Run!" Zia screamed. They ran through the house. Suddenly, all the lights went out. The house was swallowed by darkness. Behind them, heavy footsteps echoed, knock, knock, knock. Dika suddenly froze. "Something is holding my leg." Zia looked down. A hand was emerging from the darkness, slowly pulling Dika down. Dika screamed for help. Within seconds, she was dragged into the ground. Her scream faded into silence. Zia stood there, frozen. Tears filled her eyes, but no sound came out. Then Danang appeared. "You saw them," he said. "There is no escape now," Zia whispered. "What are they?" Danang replied, "They are Chromalio. They carry the dead and hunt the living." He took out an old pendant. "This kept you alive all this time." Zia looked confused. Danang continued, "Because you are the daughter of one of them." Suddenly, the ground began to shake. A terrifying scream echoed from the graveyard. Voice trembled. "He is coming back." The earth cracked open. A hand rose from the soil. Then a body followed Jarrett, Zia's father. But he was no longer human. Half of his body was rotten. His eyes were completely flat. He tilted his head and said, "You came back." Zia cried, "Father!" But see, in an instant, he grabbed her by the throat. She was lifted off the ground. "I have missed the smell of human blood," he whispered. A gunshot echoed. Melly stood behind them. "Let her go." Jarrett smiled slowly. "You think you can stop me?" Danang shouted. "Zia, the knife. Only you can end this." Zia cried. "I can't. He is my father." At that moment, the Chromalio surrounded them. Coffins dropped to the ground, one by one. Thud, thud. One coffin opened. The corpse inside suddenly opened its eyes. Melly fired. Again. The bullets did nothing. In a flash, Jarrett appeared in front of her. He leaned close and whispered, "You are mine." Then he tore her apart. Zia screamed in horror. "No." Denon charged forward. "This ends tonight." "Bet." Jarrett threw him aside effortlessly. Denon coughed blood and said, "Zia, now or never." Everything went silent. Zia stepped forward. Tears filled her eyes, but her face was steady. "Father, I will end this." She cut her own hand. Blood dripped onto the knife. Then she drove the blade into Jarrett's chest. A terrifying scream shook the entire village. Chromalio screamed together. Jarrett looked at her one last time. "You did the right thing." His body turned to dust. Everything felt over, finally. But then, Zia looked down at her hands. They were shaking. Her eyes slowly turned black. Dr. Nang whispered in fear, "No, this is not supposed to happen." Zia lifted her head. A dark smile appeared on her face. "This is not the end." In the distance, the sound returned. Knock, knock, knock. Coffins moving again. The Chromalio began walking, and this time Zia stood in front of them. "The curse lives on,"